What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the hashtag Black Professionals Project. My name is Kenton Hipsher, as hopefully you know now, but if you don't, I am the CEO and founder of the project. And our mission here is to educate and inspire Black and Brown youth through the stories of Black and Brown professionals. And so today we have with us another professional, a man that I know very well, also just so happened to go to school with, and very successful today, Mr. Vashawn on my left here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
You did fairly well for yourself, but John Solomon, and here to speak with you guys today. So.
Great. So tell everybody, what your profession is and what industry that you work in.
I am a software engineer working in the commercial vehicle industry. So.
Great. So just to cover the bases here and kind of orient people as far as where you are in your career, do you want to share with people, how you describe your ethnicity, where you're from, and then what age group you fall into?
Sure. I'm a 27-year-old African-American, and I reside in Greensboro, North Carolina. So the Triad area, as we call it here. So
yeah, the South.
Yeah, the South.
Where the food is good and the people are better.
That's what I've heard.
Hey, as a person who lived in the South for 2 years of my life, I can say that it's the best area I've ever lived in. As a person who's been in the Midwest and been on the West Coast, the South is definitely my number one choice, still to this day.
I feel you on that. I've only lived in the Midwest for a little while. I've never been on the West Coast, but I definitely love being back in the South. So
it just can't beat it, man. It's good weather, good people, good food. It's
always a good food.
Living. it's everything you want in one area.
Yes, it is.
Now the bugs though, I can't get with the bugs. I'm not on the bug tip, but
the heat does get a little bit unbearable sometimes. That muggy heat.
Hey, but everybody's got AC though. That's the thing.
That's true. Yeah.
If you live in the South and you don't have AC, that's your fault. That's nobody else's fault but you.
I pray for you.
Yes, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about your career. Tell us about what it is to have a day in the life for Vashawn as a software engineer.
Got you. So basically starting out in work, could be anywhere from, doing a code review in the morning or having an early meeting, get into those type of discussions, design meeting or something like that. Usually going, after early morning hours, getting close to lunch or something like that, going to some hard coding, coding and stuff like that, getting some things outlined or, just implementing a bunch of whatever you're working on that day. Every now and then you might have a work trip or something like that. You have to interact with some clients and do some testing. Usually for me, I do a lot of my testing in the afternoons, debugging whatever I've, basically programmed, coded up and things like that, debugging. And usually a lot of the problems come in the afternoon because you've already done all your coding in the morning and you're just trying to get things tested out before you leave for the day. So usually everybody's coming around trying to ask questions about what's going on, whatever bugs they're finding and things like that. And then the emergency meetings are usually in the afternoon, if something's critically wrong or something like that. But, typically, code reviews and meetings in the morning and testing and stuff in the afternoon and things like that. So
okay, I see. So to kind of help provide some background for people, as far as a software engineer, how would you describe a software engineer in general and what it is that you do? Because I know there's front end, there's back end, there's all sorts of areas that people work in, but kind of provide us sort of a general overview of software engineering and then where you fall in that description.
Got you. As far as software, is basically just applying the principles of software engineering, is design, development, maintaining, testing, evaluation of all that type of all types of coding and languages and things like that. That's just, you know, you have your front end, your back end, your full stack engineers, you know. Also, they include, you know, the embedded side and stuff like that. As far as me, I kind of started out as far as somewhat combination of a front end and kind of a little bit of back end. So kind of tasting the waters of a full stack when I first started. Is where I'm at now. I'm basically in the embedded portion, embedded side. So kind of, you know, just working with a device, different devices, and doing coding into those, doing software to run that, which has a little bit more limitations than, you know, your average computer, someone who works on a console app or stuff like that. So, but that's kind of where I'm at now, which is kind of where I wanted to be. I wanted to do embedded software. So,
okay, so front end would be more of like what you see as a consumer,
exactly,
and then
yeah.
back end would be all the code and architecture that goes into creating what you see in the front, and then embedded would be like within an application, correct?
Embedded is kind of more of a, so a lot of your software, you know, you have run on your computer, you know, say the Zoom app that we're doing now, you know, your front end would be everything that you see, you know, the buttons you click, the interaction that the user sees. The back end is kind of everything that drives that. So the drivers and the, you know, the backing, the databases and stuff like that, that kind of make everything tick in the background that the user never has access to or anybody sees. As far as firmware goes, it's just basically that software running on a computer-like device that has memory limitations and, you know, time limitations and stuff like that. It doesn't work as powerful as a normal, you know, computer that we use every day. It's just a smaller device. Take a cell phone, basically, except for a lot more limitations, basically. So,
okay. That really helps me as a non-software person understand sort of where we are. And I know maybe some of the people in the younger groups, they may not have that understanding as well. So it's good that you give that foundation. So, you know, running through your code reviews and then, you know, testing, having to debug and solve problems. What would you say are 2 obstacles that you face on a day-to-day basis in your career?
On a day-to-day basis, I would definitely have to say, you know, time limitations. You know, the deadlines are always, you know, near. We're always trying to pump stuff out quickly, you know, which, you know, sometimes cause you to not have the cleanest of code that you would like as a software engineer, or, you know, the design isn't always as well thought out that you would like it to be, you know. So just time constraints, you know, there's a lot of, as companies, you know, time is money, you know, and the quickest you can get things out there, they're going to make sure that them deadlines are there, and they expect you to, you know, put the production that you usually put out there, you know, quicker. So, and then also, I guess I would also have to say just kind of, you know, working with different levels of software, you know, engineers, you know, developers and stuff like that. You're always going to have a senior level, you know, the entry level people, and then everyone brings, you know, something new to the table, you know. Someone like me, you know, fairly young, kind of still somewhat early into the career, you know, we're bringing new ideas that we've learned and things that we picked up, you know, going through school, or, you know, just things that we've been researching or, you know, learned from somewhere else. And then, you know, working with someone who's been doing this for 20 years, you know, just trying to merge those all the time. And sometimes, you know, you might be right. And then a lot of times the senior level person, you know, knows a lot more than you do. But then, you know, it's kind of just merging those two. It's like, hey, you know, this is, you know, something that I know I've learned and stuff like that. How can we use what the knowledge you're giving me to make this work, basically? And sometimes it's a little bit tough, you know. So just those are kind of two things you kind of run into fairly often, should I say? So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know this is kind of an obstacle that I hear from a lot of people I've talked to thus far, is finding your voice as an employee amongst a group of professionals that really do understand the process and have been working on it much longer than you have, and still trying to add value And similar to what you said, it really just takes understanding of your own perspective and their perspective to try to come together and collaborate to find the best solution for somebody.
Yeah, and speaking from personal experience, there's a lot of times when I guess first get into a company, within the first couple months, whatever, you kind of take your time and kind of like sit in meetings and kind of understand where everyone's at and where everyone comes from, and to kind of learn where you can put your place and find where your voice can kind of go, where you can speak up and where your knowledge is actually bringing the most value to a team. You kind of got to understand where everyone knowledge is at, and like where specifically you can help within that team or whoever you're collaborating with. So just some more to go on to that. So
certainly. So talk to everybody about how you got started basically on the software engineering track. Like, was there any programs you participated in high school, or was it just getting started in college? Like, what spurred you to go down this path?
It's quite funny, actually. When I was first getting into engineering, I kind of was, most people like, oh, math and science is kind of where I like, it's like, oh, engineering might be that kind of thing that you might want to look into. I looked into it, and I actually, up until I think when I got to college, I had always planned to be a mechanical engineer. I was kind of going down that path. And one of the biggest things that I feel like, the biggest program that I think had a lot of impact and broadened my knowledge, I went to a program at MIT. It's called MITES. It's an Minority Introduction to Engineering and Science. It's a 6-week program MIT runs for rising seniors in high school. And that was amazing experience. You get to spend 6 weeks up there at MIT, get to, talk and collaborate and network with people, kids just like you all over the country, that's come from all over the country. And, it just seeing the projects and everything that we did there was great. And I highly recommend, anyone who's looking into engineering to, look at a program like that. I think Caltech actually has one too. But that's kind of where I guess started the getting into engineering. Then once I got to college, I started looking into, other disciplines, and then I ended up going into the computer engineering track. And from that point on, it just kind of took off from there. I started, took a class in embedded and started doing programming, computer science classes, and I just took a love to that and just kind of went on from there. An internship, I had an internship at Whirlpool, kind of working on testing software and, giving input into like, the software development. There's some things that they wanted to look at and test, and just kind of took off after that. Just kept learning and expanding knowledge and going from there.
Hey, I know Jada Davis also talked about the MITES program as well. She was a
That's
part
right.
of that.
Yes. Yeah. We had a discussion about that because she went to I think it was 2 years after me. And once we found out we both went there, it was like, oh, we had all types of discussions about it. And I actually still keep up with some of the people I've talked to, being a part of the National Society of Black Engineers. I believe you were part of it as well. There's a lot of people when we went to the conferences and stuff like that, that we specifically went to the year program that I was there, and we still communicate. We have a Facebook group and stuff like that. So, you make connections in these programs that you go to, and, lifelong friends, and, it's great. So.
Yeah, and those are great professional resources for you. These small groups that kind of get you kickstarted will also be the same groups that you go back to, when if you're looking for a job, or maybe if you want to network and learn more about something, you already have that group of people kind of set up for you. So pursuing these things is very beneficial to you.
Absolutely.
So in addition to, taking this path and getting excited about software engineering, what would you say wakes you up every morning and makes you say, like, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to test some automotive stuff. Like, what gets you excited about this role? Because to a lot of people, they may not think that, this sounds exciting. So what's your take on it?
My take on it is, I just like to be a part of something that, is going out and actually doing something in the world, products that help other people, and knowing that, a device that, or, a product that you put code into is actually being out there used by who knows how many people, millions of folks, either, in the country or, around the world, wherever your product is sold, and just knowing that you were part of something that's being advertised and is actually helping people. And, as far as me, I've always wanted to, when I was first getting into the career, I always wanted to kind of be like, hey, I wanted to work on coding that went into like a cell phone, Android or something like that. And just, that's kind of the thought process. Is like, let's get up, let's make something great today. Let's make something better. Let's create something new, and let's make things just work. Let's clean up whatever it is, code some good stuff, and just be better today. So I hope that answers the question. That's just kind of where my head goes. That kind of gets me going. About these things. So.
No, that does, and I feel like a lot of other professionals have echoed your statement in their own areas. For sure. And I know, one of the things you mentioned is always having to respond and have a variety of problems to solve every day is something that motivates a lot of people as well.
Yes.
Because like you said, you come in and you're writing your code, but then you have to test it and make sure that works. And that presents its own set of problems. And then I'm sure you have to collaborate with other people to get one product. So then you have to deal with a whole nother set of problems, which is trying to work with other people and their pieces of work.
Yes.
So it's a lot.
And that's actually, another thing we run into a lot, is when you, as software, programmer and engineer, you have to understand other people's code. Everyone codes differently. So when you're merging something together, obviously everyone's working on different parts. When you have to figure out a problem that's between you and someone else's code, it could take you a while to try to figure out that one thing. And it could be something easy, or it could be something, it might take a week to figure out. And you run into those problems, and it ends up being something, very simple, but it's just not always evident what's there.
So moral of the story, comment your code so people can read what you're doing.
That is a big thing. Commenting code. We don't have time for it, but it's amazing that you need to have those in there.
So in closing here, I want to ask you two questions. You already talked about what your motivations are and things, but the first question I want to ask you is, why did you specifically choose the career that you have now? Because with the software engineering degree, you could do a variety of things, right? So why did you choose to do what you do now?
Specifically, I guess, what I do now, doing, as I went to school for computer engineering, which is kind of a merge of computer science and electrical. So I could have kind of went either route as far as that went. I kind of went more in the software engineering kind of route. But specifically, I took an embedded class. I think it was at Rose-Hulman. And that class just kind of making things work with code and actually seeing them come to fruition, just like, actually making something do exactly what you wanted through code, for me, kind of had me hooked as far as like the embedded type thing goes. And that's what I'm kind of doing more work into now. I kind of chose to do that when I got to the company I'm at now. Originally I was doing console application type stuff, but I want to get more into that embedded stuff, is like, having that challenge of, memory constraint and time constraint, but still being able to make it work like, an actual computer and do the things that you needed to do. just intrigued me more. And so I guess that's kind of the reason why I went specifically into what I'm doing now and where I'm at now. It gave me the opportunity to be more into the embedded side of things at the time. But I mean, I still have a future looking into eventually going into a more of a full stack pathway at some point. So, but that's what I'm working towards, ever expanding knowledge to get to that. But that's where I'm at now. So
that's great. And I know your education and your career allows you to have the opportunity to grow. And yes, that's really key, I think, for anybody to think about in any profession is even though you love what you do, you always want to be growing. You don't want to be stuck somewhere or be stagnant, because at some point those things are going to get old to you. So you want to keep it fresh, and you want to have room to move up wherever you are, or spread your wings and take on more responsibility.
Absolutely. And that's always a thing in software. You can always expand. There's always new coding languages. There's always new technologies. Technology moves so fast, nowadays that, there's always a new processor. There's always something new that can come out that you can, write a driver for or something like that. It's always something new. So.
The last question I wanted to ask you was, do you have any advice for young Black and brown individuals who are interested in following in your footsteps or pursuing a career similar to yours?
I would say, is speaking more into what we just talked about, expanding knowledge, never stop learning. Never get complacent with what you know. If you feel like you've mastered something, or, you're really good at something, I guarantee you there's something else out there that you haven't found out about that specific either coding language or topic or the, development method or whatever like that. Speaking on personally to me, I'm looking to expand into other languages at this point. I know three, was it Python, embedded C, and C#. And I'm trying to expand into more knowledge into Java, into like SQL. We're doing database stuff. So always strive to continue to expand your knowledge. That is something that, I'm always telling people to do. Just don't get complacent with what you know. You can always learn from the senior level people, or there's always some type of high level class, or you can always keep going back to school to to learn more about what you're doing. And then the second piece of advice, just always look into, I guess, what your field can expand into. There's limitless opportunities specifically into software engineering, but any type of, I guess, career pathway, you can go into many avenues. Even where I'm at now, I can still go into back end specifically, or front end specifically, or I can go back to to console applications and stuff like that, or whatever it is that you want to do. Just make sure you explore, every avenue that you can take to find what you love, because you want to wake up and go to work and love what you do. You don't want to feel like work is a burden every day. You want to go and enjoy working. It's hard to say in this climate, but that you want to feel like work is not, tasking on you every day, because you don't want to get stressed and burnt out and things like that. You want to go and do what you love. And those are two things that I always, tell people, anyone looking to, go into a career or, going to school and stuff like that. So those are my two tidbits of information.
Hey, those are wonderful, man. I mean, I couldn't put it any better myself. And with that, those are all the questions I have for you. I just want to thank you for coming onto the platform. I really appreciate you sharing your professional journey with us, and providing the youth an opportunity to see behind the curtain of what it's like to be a software engineer in your space. So I really appreciate you. At this time, would you like to have any shameless plugs or any shout outs or anything you want to put out there?
No, I don't have anything specifically. Just just keep working out there. Anyone looking to get into their career or in their career or even in the space that me and you might be in. Just keep grinding. Keep going. Chase the dream. Chase what you're trying to do. And again, always expand on your knowledge. Always keep finding new things to learn about. That's all. So.
For sure, yeah.
And I appreciate you having me do this. I was excited when you contacted me to be a part of it. I was like, I see he's doing something great and something we need for a long time, especially with everything that's going on nowadays. So
yeah, I appreciate that, man. I really do. And he may not plug it, but I'll plug it for him. He also has a gaming channel that he's working on. He's out here on the sticks. So if y'all trying to get these hands, then you can go check him out at the link in our description. You see the work in the background. You see the chair. You see the PC off to the side. You know what it is. He's not playing games, so he's ready to throw down with anybody out here.
So, where are we? Pretty sure we're here. Ah, nice. I'll mark it up as we go.
So you guys can check him out at the link in the description. And with that, it has been another great episode of the Black Professionals Project. And we will see you guys next time. But first, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a Black professional on here. And you can get as many career opportunities as possible by hearing about what these people do and seeing faces that match yours and see how you can get to where they are. So with that, we are out.